With the first quarter of the 2018 season of Melee getting close to wrapping up after EGLX, I thought there would be no better time to take a look at the current ranking of the top 15 players, which will be critical for seeding upcoming events such as Full Bloom 4 and Smash Summit. These rankings are going to be using the 2017 rankings as starting points, and then using each player's performances in 2018 to see how their position has shuffled since then. Therefore, this list will lean heavily on recent events, and movement amongst ranks will be more difficult to do between perceived skill gaps that exist in the 2017 rankings, such as between ranks 6 and 7. So with those parameters in place, let's take a look at 2018's first quarter rankings for the top 15. There's pretty much no argument against Hungrybox still holding control over the number 1 spot in 2018. He's won EGLX, Nudes, Smash Valley without losing a single game, and 5 Florida locals in these quiet 3 months. And his worst loss, if you could even call it that, came from Plup at Genesis 5, who's been the only player to take a set off him so far this year. But Hungrybox has yet to play Mango or Armada, so we'll have to see if either of these players are able to knock him down a few pegs at Full Bloom or Summit. Especially with this next pick, it is important to remember that recent performance matters a whole lot more than 2017 ranking, which is why I would actually currently give the second spot to Plup over Armada. Winning a super major like Genesis is an amazing accomplishment, but doing so while beating every single member of the top 6 except Leffen is absolutely incredible. Armada, on the other hand, has had a shaky, relative to him, start to 2018 with his 4th place finish at Genesis 5 and getting reverse 6-0'd by Leffen at Valhalla, which is enough to bump him down 1 spot below Plup. And speaking of Leffen, he's the clear pick for the 4th place spot. He had quite a similar run to Plup at Genesis 5, beating Armada, Mango, and Mutaking, but just barely missed out on being able to beat Hungrybox in 2 heartbreaking Game 5 sets. If he would have been able to close out either of those games, he could potentially be in that 3rd place spot, but Armada holds the spot just a bit above him due to his domination of the scene throughout most of 2017. However, Leffen does have a great chance to make the jump by winning Full Bloom 4 over Hungrybox and Mango, which for sure would give him the valuable 3rd seed at Summit. Coming in 5th, much to the dismay of his fans, is Mango, who's only attended Genesis 5 so far this year, causing his rank to suffer decay partially because of inactivity. The larger cause of this 2-spot drop is his shaky 5th place performance at Genesis, where Stango, Wizrobe, and Axe were all able to take him to Game 5. And unlike most of the players above him, he did not take a single win off the top 6 at the event, with his best win coming against Axe. The Mango Nation shouldn't be too concerned, as he always seems to pull out at least one amazing performance every year that will surely shoot his rank back up. At 6th, Mutaking has had easily the roughest start out of any of the top 6 so far in 2018. It started out at Genesis, where he just barely missed out on making top 8 after a 3-1 loss to Lucky, which is the worst loss by rank of any player in the top 6. Sadly, this record did not stand for long, as he lost to 24th ranked Amsa at EGLX, leaving him to be outplaced by the other 3 Floridians in attendance. These recent struggles have hopefully been a wake-up call to Mutaking that will hopefully bring back the player we saw at Canada Cup once again. The next 3 spots on our list should be no surprise, as they are in the exact same order that they were on the end-of-year rankings. Axe and Wizrobe have had fairly similar performances so far this year, so the small gap that separates the two hasn't really changed in size. The gap between the 2 and SVAD, however, appears to be growing slightly, but SVAD is still within striking distance to reclaim his 7th place spot from 2016. For now, it's mainly a race between the 3 to see who will be the first to take a set off a top 6 player this year. After the top 9, this list starts getting a whole lot more difficult. There's a lot of quality players that could take up these next 6 spots, so I want to split these players into 2 groups, 10 to 13 and 14 to 15. From these contenders for 10 to 13, you can see that the 11th, 12th, and 13th ranked players from 2017, Chudat, Drugfox, and Shroom respectively, are all absent from this list. Drugfox and Shroom aren't being considered due to their inactivity, and Chudat's exceptionally poor performance in 2018 and negative trend for most of the second half of 2017 is what removes him from contention. The 2 players who immediately jump out amongst these 4 are Lucky and Amsa, who both have accrued a win over Mutaking already this year. Crush and SDJ, while they've both been having a great year as well, do not have any top 10 wins like the other 2 players do, so they're both knocked out of contention for top 10. Between these 2, Amsa edges out 10th over Lucky by having 2 great performances at both EGLX and Genesis 5, whereas Lucky had an amazing run at Genesis 5 and underperformed at Smash Valley and EGLX. Lucky does have similar losses to Amsa across these two events, so if Lucky is able to become more consistent as more people start practicing for the Yoshi matchup, he should be able to easily pass Amsa. With these two ranks decided, this leaves us to choose between S2J and Crush for the 12th spot. And while Crush has been on a hot streak since the Twitch Invitational, S2J hasn't had any bad performances so far in 2018, and hasn't had the shot to take sets off of players ranked higher than Lucky besides at Genesis 5. But if Crush is able to amp up this hot streak by taking some sets off top 10 players, he could start climbing his way down the list. And lastly, we will be finishing off our list with the last 2 spots remaining. There's also 4 contenders I narrowed these spots down to as well. Shroomed is an easy choice to eliminate from the running, as he's only been to 2 events, including locals, in the last 3 months, and because of his lackluster showing at Genesis 5. Duck is much closer than Shroom to claiming one of these spots, but his recent consistent losses to KJH and his best win being Pew Pew U makes distance between him and the other 2 remaining players, which makes him my pick for 16th. So that leaves us just with Zane and Hugs, which is a surprisingly tough call to make. Zane has better wins but worse losses, and Hugs was able to make it into top 8 as a super major, which hasn't been done by a solo Samus main in a very long time. In the end, I've got to give the 14th place spot to Zane, because he's gotten great wins at every event he's gone to this year, including EGLX, which is not pictured, and without his losses from Captain Smucker, who is going on an absolute tear at the gang, he's got better losses than Hugs. Hugo recently getting reverse 3-0'd by Ryan Ford in a set that featured a Game 5 timeout does make me a little weary that his strong start to 2018 may just be a flash in the pan, but I'm more inclined to believe that it will serve as a wake-up call than the start of a downward spiral. And yeah, that's about it for this video. And I know already there's going to be a lot of dissenting opinions down in the comments below, and I think that's actually the most important part of a video like this. I want you to look at the data yourself. Maybe if there's something else you want to look beyond the data I presented, check that out as well to see what your opinions actually are. Don't just, even if you like my videos, like, oh, this seems like a good thing, just don't take my opinions at face value and be like, oh, SaveAsUntitled said this, so it must be right. Look up the rest of the data yourself. This is, I tried to present the most data so you guys can make an informed opinion just by watching this video, but through like time constraints and not being able to put everyone on that graphic, like I couldn't include Zane's EGLX, but I think those were the most important data points you need to decide. But the point I'm trying to get across with this, disagreeing with me, totally okay, and I kind of encourage, don't disagree just to disagree, but don't just take my opinions and like, oh, this guy's there at face value. Look at the data yourself, make your own informed opinion. That's kind of, like I said before, that's the point of these videos, to make everyone more informed and to have reasoning behind your opinions. Like, 2 people can have disagreeing opinions on, say, maybe Shroom should be ranked higher because inactivity shouldn't matter as much, or Armada should be above Flup because 2017 was so dominant that he couldn't have jumped that yet. It's important to have those discussions and see where other people fall and trying to better your opinion by understanding the counterpoints to it, if that makes any sense. And also, I have 2 new videos, hopefully 2 new videos coming next week. One's going to be a preview, or more of like a discussion highlighting players of an overlooked character. I'm not going to spoil anything else for you guys. You'll figure that out when it comes out. And one will obviously be previewing Full Bloom, which is going to be a huge event. And I feel bad. I did do the stream talking about EGLX and the Arcadian a bit, but I really didn't make a preview video because I kind of just lost track of time and didn't realize it was that close. But yeah, those 2 videos should be coming next week. And to make sure you don't miss out on those videos, you could... God, it was so cheesy. You can subscribe me over here if you haven't already. You can follow me over on Twitter at SaveAsUntitled. The link is down in the description. And if you want to get these videos early, especially that video on the overlooked characters, because that'll probably be done in a couple of days, you can hit me up on Patreon, give $1, you get these videos early, give a couple more, you can pick a video topic every month. It's pretty cool. And there's a great group of guys who support me over there. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's about it. I've been SaveAsUntitled. Don't be too mean down in the comments when you're fighting with opinions, and I'll see you guys next time.